Welcome to the Ruffells ad break, the first of the Ruffells Roughcasts. I'm Tim McInnes, Managing Director. In this podcast, we dig into how the creatives we work with get the most out of every brief to deliver best results for you. At Ruffells, we're all about the people, and when we're working with best in breed, it's easy to get great results. We also reckon that when the majority of our effective brain time is spent at work, that you might as well enjoy the ride. Joining us this episode is Nick Lowry, art director, set builder, muralist. He's worked in film, in TV, theatre, and any number of enterprises, which are as often as obscure as they are entertaining. This man of many talents is also just as likely to be at the beach catching sick waves as he is literally building other people's dreams. In this episode, we talk about Shakespeare, bringing the energy without the pressure, and getting into sticky situations. But less from me and more about Nick Lowry.
Ruffells ad break.
Ruffells ad break.
What do you got on your fingers? You've got some paint on your fingers.
I always have paint on my fingers.
What colours you got?
Yeah, I got green, black, fluoro pink. There's always a little bit of fluoro pink on there.
What have you been painting?
There was a piece from yesterday with a Dutch guy.
What do you mean a piece?
A graffiti piece of art.
Yep.
A piece.
Yep.
And that's just what I like to do for my downtime.
Yep. Did you say a Dutch?
A Dutch guy, yeah.
He's come over.
Dutch. I like the licorice.
He was Dutch.
It was just as salty.
Was
I
he?
like it salty. Yeah.
Okay.
The Dutch.
Is he here for a particular
He
thing?
was here travelling through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And graffiti writers generally try and reach out to each other while they're travelling.
Yep.
It's kind of half the buzz, I guess.
And what sort of, because you do quite a lot of graffiti plus murals plus that kind of stuff. Are we comfortable talking about that? Is that what we do?
Yeah, I don't do much illegal stuff. Or,
You do mostly commissioned pieces and things like that?
Yeah.
How do you collaborate? Because is it easy to collaborate with another painter, writer?
I think once we start, we just kind of, our heads just start rolling together, and somehow, at the end, it's all seemingly homogenized into this one nice solid unit. Most of the time, I think we kind of vibe off each other. I think that's much the same as, the industry.
Yep. You must have moments though where you must have some bits which you like more than others, or you've liked the process more than the outcome, or whatever. Yeah,
definitely. I think that definitely depends on the people you're with.
Yep.
Yeah, dictates a lot of that energy.
So you didn't start. You started in a film, television, and motion graphics.
Studying, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I think I just couldn't handle being behind a computer for so long. I think that was my probably downfall there. I tried.
Downfall, or maybe that's your moment's realization.
Maybe a moment of realization.
Did you have a moment? Did you have a light bulb moment where you went?
Yeah, when I had to put a shirt on. That was it. I can't remember the media company. It was the one that does all the motion billboards.
Yep.
One of them.
You had to put on a shirt to fulfill the job.
They wanted me to put on a wear shirt. Any shirt. I could have worn any shirt, but I didn't want to wear a shirt. I don't like wearing. Well, I like wearing shirts, but if someone tells me to wear a shirt, it's not the shirt.
It's not the shirt.
No.
Is there anything over the last year or so, is there any recent, and it doesn't actually have to be that, any recent work that you've found really fulfilling? Is there one thing that sort of stands out, and can you talk me through what you did?
I think it was a theatre design job for the Theatre Royal. It wasn't the biggest job with the biggest budget, but it was nice to fill that space. And it was nice to finally be in that space.
This is the Isaac Theatre Royal, which is recently, after the earthquakes, was recently refurbished to the tune of multiple tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space. Yeah.
And, Italian painters come out and hand paint the ceiling friezes and all that kind of stuff. It's a beautiful space.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, would you say it's the top tier of theatre in Christchurch, would you say?
Yeah, for theatre, for sure.
Yep.
It's probably not the biggest and best space, but it's definitely, for theatre, it's, the most opulent.
Yep. And so what did you do then? So you had being the biggest and best, you must have had the biggest budget, and you could, go to town on it.
You would hope so. But this is a very small budget, small show, Midsummer's Night's Dream, which is dry AF. Nothing actually happens in Midsummer's Night's. I can't even remember. A couch. There was a couch. There was a guy called Demetrius. There was a souvlaki.
And
a dog.
What did you do though? What did you
design the set? And I made it all in fabrics, big fabric, 8-meter fabric drops in metallic. So I tried to utilize light reflection to try and maximize the amount of depth in that space.
Yep.
And with this little budget, I try and sort of optimize what I can use. I always use fabrics if I'm stuck. It's cheap, it's bang for buck, and you can fill a large space very quickly.
So the fabric's behind us.
Yes, Tim, there's fabrics behind us. Very lovely fabrics. Yeah. So no, that was a good gig.
Why was it
nice to be back in there? I think with a bigger budget.
Why was it so fulfilling though? What was it that stood out to you? Was it like you were getting credibility because you were in that space, or would it because you've definitely done bigger value?
Oh, I'm definitely like I don't know, as much of a conformist I'm not. I think I'm definitely a box ticker. And so, I think I've always been a bit of a box ticker, and I've always like manifested certain goals, even though I don't write them down or plan to. I definitely have a huge list in my head that I need to go through, and maybe it's part of a bit of an OCD thing or something like that. But that was definitely on my list, a place to tick off. So achieving those things is always nice.
So what is the difference between building a theatre? Because I know you've built you've built sets all over the place. You've built sets for us. You've built for TV commercials or for any number of things.
Pole dancers.
For pole dancers. That's right. You built a giant lipstick.
A giant lipstick rocket ship. Yeah. Yeah.
And did the lipstick?
It was sexy. It came out.
Okay.
Like a dog.
It's lipstick.
Yeah.
I think
like a dog's lipstick.
Oh, right.
It came out.
And I don't really know where to go with that one. I feel like
you don't have to go anywhere.
No, it's interesting. You did actually build that. You genuinely built that for a pole dancer. So it's a legitimate thing to talk about. I'm just not really sure how deep down that again. Go down a hole, rabbit hole.
Yeah,
like the internet.
Yeah.
But you've also built sets for theatre productions, for the Court Theatre, and for
Little Andromeda.
Yep.
Heaps of traveling children's theatre shows.
Yep. Have you done stuff out in the middle of nowhere? I think you built some TV commercial sets out in agricultural.
I've done floating sets above crops.
Yep.
It's always interesting. I love the element of surrealism with those sort of things.
Film sets you've built, been involved with that sort of stuff. What is the most challenging? What do you bring? So obviously the body of work is reasonably significant. You're a box ticker, even though you're a flouncer. Mm-hmm. And on a good day, I often think to myself, I bet Nick Lowry's out surfing.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know what the waves are doing, I always just like to imagine that's where you are.
Yeah, I find it hard to sit down. So in between, I can't use the word work now, can I? But in between,
you've set it up so it's
in
not
between work and flouncing, flouncing. I like to try and fill my time with other things. I can't really sit still for too long, so it's generally like painting or surfing.
So does that experience,
or hiking,
that world experience and stuff, and also you worked as a chef, that was just kind of high pressure.
Yeah,
right?
For 10 years.
For 10 years
as a Spanish chef. Yeah.
So how do you take all of that sort of experiential knowledge, all that stuff that you've gained over all of those years, and put it into the projects that you're involved in? What value do you bring?
Try and bring energy without applying too much pressure. So I can't really explain that. I don't know. It's hard to look from the inside out. I think it's easier for someone like yourself to probably look on the outside in at what someone like me does. But like I said, I don't really think about it too much. So I don't really.
I'll give you an example of what I see, and then you can tell me whether or not I'm wrong. I don't think I've ever seen you phased by any project? I don't
No.
think you've ever gone. I mean, you've gone, oh, that's nuts, but I don't think you've ever freaked out over it.
No. Okay. I think my view is that things always work out in the end, and there's moments of stress, but I think somehow, as long as you keep one foot in front of the other, it always works out, and it might not work out as how you wanted it or whatever, but at the end of the day, everyone's usually generally happy and walking away feeling like they've achieved what they needed to achieve. And I think it's when you step back and walk away from something that, things fail, but I don't think I've done that yet.
Yep.
Not that I can remember.
If you were thinking about an ad, a nostalgic ad, I know we've talked about this a couple of times. If there's something that comes to top of mind, can you tell me what the ad is and talk me through it?
There's a couple I can think about. The Polar Pop ad.
Which one was that?
The Polar Pop beer ad.
I'm
a Polar Pop beer, Polar Pop.
That's the one.
That's the one. I'm sure everyone, born before 1990. Animated, beautiful, fun. It was really explosive.
Polar bear sliding down and
the whole family of polar bears, big daddy polar bear, little kids, each different coloured hats on, much kind of like the what was the duck gang called back in the?
Don't know your story.
Like, they were ducks. Kind of the same vein as that, but I don't know, just that really cool, fast, explosive energy, fun, fresh. And that's always stuck with me for some reason, very cool.
Yeah.
And, although I'm not doing animation now, I think I always think about those older ads and the energy that they sat on. Even the early ACC ads, like they were brutal, but damn, they were funny. They were wild.
So what? Same day, David.
Same day, David. Yeah, it's the same day.
Same day.
No one knows what day.
Tuesday.
Thursday, any day. Yeah. Today
doesn't matter.
It was a day.
So if those ads, and what we'll do is we'll try and find those ads, and we'll put a link into this podcast so people can see. What about those ads stood out to you as being interesting? Or what do you think you remembered them?
The use of practical effects, I think, really stuck with me.
But not in the animation, not in Polar Pops. Right?
No.
There was animated, that was...
But there was something still quite raw about it as well. And knowing that it was, or would have been to a degree, I don't know. Definitely a lot of those ACC ads were, it was more... They gained a lot of momentum through the use of sound bites, I guess, and I don't know. I can't really explain that one. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah. And so, what is it? If you were to look at what you do and what some of those ads do, how do you approach a brief? If I give you a brief for the sake of the argument, or if somebody else gives you a brief, or like you said, the Theatre Royal, or whomever that was, gives you a brief.
It was Derek Doddington.
Oh yeah, top dog,
little D dog.
Yep. So if they give you a brief, or
top dog,
top dog, top dog. If they give you a brief, how do you approach it? How do you have to think about what the outcome is for whom? Is it for the theatre company? Is it for us? Is it for the client, who is ultimately, either a theatre goer or a consumer on TV or something like that? Who are you thinking about? What's the process?
I generally just think about. I read the script and then I'm all about the script, and the best use of space. So I like to see where everything is going. But generally, I act on instinct, and as soon as I read the script, I feel like there's something really concrete in my head from the start, and I have to follow through with that as best I can, and then talk to the director and the producers and whoever's involved about how I can best sort of turn that into something that they're happy with as well.
Yep.
But I've always been one to kind of go with gut instinct and stick with my guns from the start. I think it's safe, but I also think your brain is, you should act on your visions. Yeah.
And do you think that's is that context? Is that because you're thinking about a bunch of stuff at the time, or you've taken a whole lot of information from the world around you at that particular time, and you're thinking about that stuff, and then a brief comes in, and you go, "Oh, that makes sense of all of these other little micro bits and pieces," or where does that come from?
Yeah, I guess I probably think, and it's probably the way I probably think in video, I think in motion. So as soon as I read something, it's just locked in pretty fast. And yeah, for sure, like my day or my energy that I'm sort of carrying at that point in time probably has a lot to do with my outcome and what I'm inspired by at that present point. But I generally try and focus in what I'm seeing as I'm reading. I'm talking.
How much of what you do is also based on what hasn't worked in the past?
Heaps. Yeah. But I also try and challenge myself, and I always try and think about things that I haven't done before because I like creating things that I haven't. So I generally try and create projects that challenge me. And if I can't do it, then I will. If I know I can't do it or I have never done it before, then I'll make a point of just getting it done or finding a product that works or building something that I've never built before. I think that's the probably most enjoyable part in each project.
And what about, so for example, if we were talking about a giant lipstick before, that was kind of engineering as well, right? So it's not just painting a wall or drape. You said you were doing 8-meter drops of fabric to create depth. Well, then that's on one day, and the next day you're building a giant lipstick which has to move. So that's an engineering feat. So is that a matter of trial and error? Is that classic old Kiwi number 8, or is
definitely Kiwi number 8 and reverse engineering? I always kind of tend to build something and then break it back down to create its motion or whatever. I find that works the best for me. And almost putting myself in sticky positions. I like building things, and then without knowing like how I'm going to build it, I just start and then somehow just work it out as I go. Yeah, which probably seems dangerous, but it works. It works for me.
Yeah. So one of the trends which is coming through on these is that there's a very fine line between being confident and terrified. It's like, and like you've just said, some of the things are a bit dangerous, like you like living on the edge.
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe that's the thing which is part of the, again, I hate that term creative, because actually most of the time it's process driven, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know where we have to start. We know where it's supposed to end up. It's the bits in between that we have to negotiate.
Yeah.
But also one of the things that's coming out is, I think that fine line, being prepared, being courageous, maybe enough to go, well, this might really suck, but it might also be really amazing. So if we take the safe route, we're guaranteed one outcome. If we take the dangerous route, maybe we'll get something spectacular.
Yeah, and we've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I think if we're not learning, then I just don't see the point.
Yep.
I need to be learning constantly.
Yep.
And if I'm not learning while I'm working, flouncing, having fun, then I honestly, I don't know. I don't see the point.
Yep. Excellent.
And that's progression as well.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you're not progressing, then you might as well give up. If you're not moving forward, then sit down.
Yeah. If you're standing still, you're moving backwards because everybody else is moving forward around you. So
yeah.
You got to move. Hey, so
you haven't drank any of your water, Tim. I'm worried.
I'll hydrate
a little bit. Okay.
A little bit, yeah. Hey, what about relationships? So I'm not talking about your mum.
I love my mum.
But what are the things? How do you make sure that you've got a good relationship? We've got a good relationship. There's a lot of stuff that I can say to you.
Yeah. There's a lot of secrets you've got, Tim.
Yeah, that's right.
I know.
Someone has to hear them, But how does that work? How do you build a relationship? Or What are there any rules around, if you're working with new clients and stuff like that? Is there an education piece as well in building a relationship, or?
Yeah, I guess I never give too much when I first meet someone. I don't consider myself to be a loud, obnoxious person, or, someone that enters a room demanding anything of anybody. And I find that quite difficult with some people, maybe, in the industry, but it's, there's a lot of characters.
Yep.
So I think I choose to kind of lay low until I know the people around me well enough to then probably, I don't know, let loose and have that fun and banter, which I think, we all need as well. So, but building certain relationships with regular clients, I think that's really important. And I think there should be an element of banter and fun and freedom with what you say. Obviously you got to step back and rein it in sometimes, and be a little bit cautious. But I think, you do have to find that sort of brotherhood, I guess, with your flounce mates, sisterhood.
I was going to say, even if they're women, that wasn't very inclusive of you.
No, it wasn't. So I stepped back on that shit.
It's an unconscious bias.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still my
Dude's
father's
dude.
son.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
Yeah, well, suppose you can learn. Not too late.
We're always learning.
We're always learning. Flouncing.
Having fun, and progressing, and eating Polar Pops.
Yeah, eating Polar
regularly.
Pops. Hey, what do you have a memory of a favourite memory, a Ruffells memory? It could be on a job, or it could be.
There's been a few pretty mental ones, but I think like an overall time was probably that time we went through. Oh, there's been heaps.
There have been.
I mean, there was that 4 days up in the Wairarapers. Not the Wairarapers.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Where was that? Masterton.
Yeah, that's Wairarapa.
And, there wasn't really any one thing crazy that happened. It was just 4 days of horrendous laughing and abusing each other.
It really was. But that was right at the end of a super hectic year, and that was the last job of the year. The weather was hot. We were all running on no sleep.
We were crazy.
Yeah.
But we were having fun, and we were just laughing until we cried,
Literally.
I dig those moments,
Yep.
And the work was easy. The flouncing was good.
Yep.
It was really good. Who was even Kirk?
Beezy? Yeah, Beezy was there.
Beezy was there. That's right, Beezy.
Andy Dalton, another camera dude he's now in Auckland. It was just a good time.
Yeah, that was wild.
But I mean, that's also because you've got a well-oiled machine, right?
Yeah.
So we'd done all the pre-production, everything was in place. We knew what we were doing and who we were going to see. Then it was just a matter of turning up and doing it, and good times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a wild time. But there's been plenty of wild times. There's been too many wild times.
Have there been?
Yeah.
Have there been too many?
No, never too many. There's never too many.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot.
Well, I think we always talk about taking the work seriously and not ourselves. I think that's true, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's good, Nat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us any sort of professional credibility. That's great. No, I'm into it. And that's it, though. We're like, I said one time that Ruffells is like the big top. We house all of the circus freaks and geeks. And I think it's true, right? Like, we appreciate and we love all of those crazy and diverse people who come and give us their wisdom. So thank you very much for being
I've definitely learned a lot with my time at Ruffells.
Yep. We've had fun.
I've learned how to be weird.
Learned how to be weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you knew that one when you turned up. Hey, how do people get in touch with you? So if somebody wants a set built, or if they want, any number of things, a giant lipstick, how do people get in touch with Nick Lowry? A mural painted.
I mean, I have a very bad website that I haven't updated for 5 years.
It's bad.
It's terrible.
Really, really bad.
Usually it's word of mouth.
Yep.
Somehow.
Yep.
I actually don't know how people get a hold of me, but they do.
People talk.
My email that I've had since I was 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing. I don't know.
dodgyguy@hotmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that.
.govt.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll put some links on this podcast anyway.
Yeah.
Which will have a way to get in touch with you.
Thank you.
Just a little note, which is that terrible website doesn't reflect the work.
And if anyone out there that wants to fix my website, then that'd be appreciated too.
Yep. Awesome. So look, we're doing commerce.
Yeah.
We're getting people paid. Awesome, man. Hey, thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the next one.
All right. Cheers.